What's going on, guys? Good morning. Welcome back to United View.
I
Hope
can't
everyone
hear you.
Can you not hear me? Why can't you hear
Not
me?
at all. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
That's ridiculous. We were just talking. Like, what did you change?
I feel like you might have. Have you knocked something? Have you knocked your headphones or something?
Yeah,
You
it's
got
gone.
up to move.
We were friends. We were talking. Everything was. Oh, hello.
What have you done?
It's the output.
Yeah, you.
Well, it was fine before. It's the output.
Have you fixed it?
I fixed it.
Right. This. No. Obviously, as you can see, guys, welcome. KG's joining me this morning. Now, I will give you a peek behind the production curtain here because it's been frosty.
It's been frosty. It's been frosty.
It's been frosty this morning. The reason why it's been frosty is you know me, okay? And smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. We'll get into the news. But as is always the case with myself and Mr. the Comedian, we have to get through our personal stuff first.
Yeah, we do. And you know what, yeah? I want to let you know right now, yeah, that I spoke to the missus. Remember, you was going to come over for a family meal.
Yes.
And it's cancelled. I told her, put away the shepherd's pie because I was trying to make food for your taste buds. We could have had jollof. There could have been jerk chicken. I thought, nah, you know what, Owen? We had a beautiful, like a broth, a shepherd's pie, and you're not getting it. Cancel that.
Well, I don't want to be that guy, KG, but I don't even like shepherd's pie. So
I just thought you would.
So you can have your soft racism, and I'll put it back to you this morning. And the reason
I was thinking about you, I was thinking about your taste buds actually.
He must love shepherd's pie. It's a good way to start Friday. No, the reason why there's tension is because KG's got this thing about him. Yeah, is he'll wrong his friend. And then he'll realize it's going to come back to me eventually, but I wonder when. And I always say to KG, I go, it's not going to be immediately. It's going to come back at some point in the future. So last night, I'm laying in bed, going to bed early, professional. Yeah, because I know I've got to be up early in the morning. And I see KG's doing a stream. He's doing a stream on his channel, and he's playing his members at EAFC. Some would call it FIFA. KG would call it Fever. And basically, he has one game. Yeah, well, he starts off with one game. And in his first game, he has a result that even Manchester United would be ashamed of. Now, I'm not going to say what it is because guess what? I've got a screen grab. I'll put it up on the screen.
Oh, no. Why?
So you can see it right there. KG is Bayern Munich and he's up against Manchester United. That's the final image of the game. It's 7-0. And what I love about this screen grab, KG, is not only is the scoreline, but the look of horror on your face.
This
that is KG
rubbish.
That is KG being dumbfounded at what he is watching.
You are an absolute disgrace. You're a cheat.
You're the leak. I can't believe it. And Connor, everyone, I lost a lot of confidence and I stayed up to 2 o'clock playing. What is this game called? EAFC. I stayed up for long playing that game. And Owen, we got situation, but luckily there's so much takeover stuff to get into that I'm gonna do my job and be professional, but it's frosty at the moment. I don't know.
Frosty.
Yeah, it's very frosty at the moment, and I hope our relationship can overcome this another setback.
Another setback. Yeah, this tends to happen a lot, doesn't it? But hey, you wouldn't have it any other way. Dinner's off. So let's move on.
Let's go
and talk about the latest takeover news because there was a lot of takeover news. And actually, in fairness to KG, when I was watching your stream last night, some people were trying to tell you, and you went, I don't want to know. I'll wait until the morning. I don't want to know.
Yeah.
So the news was last night some big bombshell news from Bloomberg, and actually it was more of a continuation of what David Hellier was talking about when he spoke to Flex a couple of weeks ago, and that is that Ineos, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, they have restructured their offer. Seemingly, they have submitted it, and now it's much more palatable to not only the Glazer family, but also the minority shareholders of Manchester United, who are effectively stopping his previous takeover bid. So the news last night was that Sir Jim Ratcliffe is emerging as the front runner to buy into Manchester United. That comes from people with knowledge of the matter. Ratcliffe is in talks with Manchester United's owners, the Glazer family, and their advisors over the structure over the structure of a deal, according to the people. Sir Jim Ratcliffe could make an offer for some of the shares held by both the Glazers and the minority investors in Manchester United, which is the difference from his previous offer. Of course, his first offer was just for the 69% of the shares that the Glazer family owned. Now it would be actually the Glazer shares and some minority investor shares, but he would end up with an initial stake of around 25% in Manchester United in a deal that could value the club at more than £5 billion. Because this offer is more palatable to not only the Glazers, but also the minority investors. Therefore, it could actually be accepted this time as opposed to his previous bid, which was dead in the water. Therefore, Manchester United's board is set to discuss the latest Sir Jim Ratcliffe proposal at a meeting as soon as the next few days. But there is a but involved in this as well, KG. With the Glazer family closer than ever to finding a palatable deal, the situation does remain fluid and the Qatari group still could increase its takeover bid. Of course, we know the last one was for just over £5 billion for 100% of Manchester United. Now, once this news came out, Mike Keegan from the Daily Mail said regarding the Manchester United takeover, the latest that he had heard was that negotiations with those interested remained ongoing, with Sheikh Jassim's team continuing talks. Ben Jacobs said something similar, suggesting that Sheikh Jassim does remain in talks to buy Manchester United, but his sources do indicate that Ratcliffe has finally made progress, but an improved Qatar bid cannot be ruled out just yet. So a lot of information there, KG. Bullet points. The bullet points, Ineos, they're now leading the race. Their offer is changed. It's for 25%. The Glazers would stick around. Minority investors get what they want. They get some of their shares bought. But Qatar is not ruled out, and they could come back with a new improved bid that could blow everyone out of the water. What are your thoughts?
Wow. And that's a lot of movement as well. And I'm really happy to say we heard all that breaking news on Thursday. We did. That was on Thursday, which is great. But then, no, on a serious note, yeah, I do feel while there's no movement, I feel like this feels a little bit significant in the sense of now the Glazers are starting to realize that the plan, obviously, Man United's form has to be looked at. We was getting to finals. They were chartering private jets, and they were loving it. They were loving life, and it looked like, you know what, this franchise has turned itself around. Now you're starting to look at the situation and really understand that this is going to need serious investment. It's going to need, like, even if you have to look at the employees, like the players are like assets, right? And you're looking at the players, and a lot of them are kind of depreciating assets. So then what's the best route out? How are we going to get the bang for our buck? I believe that it's still waiting for Qatar, but they're really excited that Jim is forcing Qatar's hand. Before, it was like Qatar don't need to do anything because there was, as they said, Helio mentioned before, there's an impasse. Sorry, I don't know if I said that right. Is it right? Impasse, whatever. Whichever way,
You're right.
They're struggling to get the deal over the line. This move right now says we have to come back to the table. And it's got to the point where it's ego. You got two different groups. Both want to be the winners. Imagine Sir Jim can run off into the sunset and say, "We beat Qatar." I know that he does,
but it's a weird one because they beat them, but they kind of didn't. You know what I mean? Because you beat them, but you didn't. People are rightfully so saying, if you're saying that Ineos are leading the race, then you can't even really call it a takeover because they're not taking over anything. They're just investing. Because if you acquire 25%, the Glazers are still the majority shareholders. The Glazers are still in charge. They could put in £1.5 billion, but is that going to go to anything substantive at Manchester United, or is that just going to go straight to the Glazers, possibly buy out a few siblings? That's maybe what it could be. Is it going to go to reducing the debt? Maybe not. Is it going to go to improving the stadium? Maybe not. Because it's only enough to do like one thing. If that was to be do the stadium or do the training ground or take a bit off the debt or just give money to those shares that they're buying. So they're not taking over. But I do think it's significant because it could certainly push Sheikh Jassim and his team to
all we
put in
want.
another bid.
That's
That's
what
exactly. They could do that, and look, it has done that previously. If you look at the last couple of bids from Qatar, it's been Ineos are leading the race. Suddenly, new bid goes in. Ineos are still leading that race. New bid goes in. The problem is this time, I think, is that as they keep mentioning, this offer that Ineos have put in, it's the ideal scenario for the Glazers, realistically.
I don't think it is though. That's the Glazers understand here that I at the moment as it stands, we're not getting Champions League football. We'll be lucky for Europe if hopefully we can turn it around. I still kind of believe that Man United could get the act together and then we go on a nice little run. That's what I'm hoping for anyway. But then, and I'm not talking about Europe. I'm talking about just any like European Europa. I think that's probably what we should be focused on at the moment, right? But then they know they have to heavily invest. If Man United don't finish in Champions League places, that's less money from the TV rights, less money, the competition money. It really affects what we're trying to do. Plus, then we got the FFP issues. So a lot of things are affecting their like what they like to bring in regards to dividends. So you can see now that the investment that they used to have is not as great as it once was. They've bled the piggy bank dry. There's nothing in here anymore, and they're not even doing how they used to be moved before. These guys want a cash payout, and it's time to. They're waiting for. I still believe they're waiting for what do you call it, Qatar to say this. Here's the 7 billion, or I don't know if it's £6 billion or £7 billion, but here's this money up front. You lot can run off. Now, if Sir Jim's still offering them something that they will take it. If they don't do it, they know that they've got some investment from Sir Jim, and then in 2 years' time, that thing to buy is on the table. But if I honestly feel they're waiting for the first one in terms of Qatar. They're desperate for that. This club, there's too much to do. Me and Flex talking yesterday about the centre backs. How do you fix the centre back issue? We've got two Lindelof that's almost out of contract. Varane that's aging in terms of injuries and stuff, so can't play more than twice a week. You've got Maguire, who is got the best win record under this manager, and that speaks for himself. Who else is there as a centre back? Am I missing anyone? And Johnny Evans. Then we got Martinez. Those are issues. Only one that I really rate, and then the others are like decent. You got to fix that while still fixing other positions in the team. Madness.
But I don't think they care. I don't think they care about, you're talking about the on-pitch stuff and if we don't get Europe and what have you. They don't care. If they cared about that, this whole thing would have been wrapped up a long time ago to ensure that we had the best possible chance to succeed on the pitch. Success has been a byproduct, a happy coincidence for the Glazers for a decade. When we win a trophy here and there, they're like, cool, we can show up at Wembley, we can take an expensive jet trip, and we can shake people's hands and all that kind of stuff. They really don't care about anything like that. I mean, you're talking about, the dividends and what have you. Maybe their thought process is, if we can get some, idiot to come in basically and give us, and we'll give them 25% of United, a bit of ours, a bit of the minority investors. Cool. They'll pay in for 1.5 billion. Some of that money will go to us. Some of that will go to the minority investors. And hey, they got a bit of money. So if we do need some kind of cash injection, they can do it as opposed to us. And we can stick around and we can keep taking our dividend payments out. And then maybe in a few years' time, once it's worth even more, maybe we put it back on the market again. We've still got our majority. Maybe that's when we say to Qatar, hey, you're still interested, you can have our majority. So I've said, again, for me, I just worry that this offer from Ineos that they've got at the moment is a legitimate alternative. I kind of agree with you in the sense of, look, the best offer for them realistically would be if Sheikh Jassim came in and went, right, enough's enough. Here's £6 billion. This is what your asking price was. This is what you wanted. 6 siblings, £1 billion each. There you go. 100%. Get out of here. I'm really interested to know what their genuine reaction would be, because their price is so high. I mean, in the Bloomberg article yesterday, they were saying that the actual market price of United is like $3.3 billion. So you're asking Sheikh Jassim and the 92 Foundation to pay over double that, because obviously currency exchange, so double that And then you don't even know if they're going to accept it. So you can understand the reluctance from the 9-2 Foundation because they're like, that's ridiculously overpriced. But we might end up being in somewhat of an end game now because like you said, there was an impasse. The impasse was the Ineos deal was dead because the minority shareholders said, if you accept his offer as it is, we will sue you and we will lock you up in litigation. And the independent members of the board of directors said, well, if that's the case, that we cannot in good faith accept an offer from Sir Jim Ratcliffe. But now that's changed. So they theoretically could accept a bid. So now we're in a situation where the Glazers, once again, they didn't have that much leverage. Now they got some leverage again.
And you know what? We needed it to be a 2-horse race. Remember when Sir Jim came into it before, and I said, I'm really happy about this. It was early when he was like, you know what, I want to put my I'm gonna put my hat in there. And it was good because we only would have got here with 2 horses going at it. Now you've blown the other guys, the minority stakes, out of the water. And that's what the hope was. I thought Sir Jim would never say, and this is the only embarrassment, I thought Sir Jim would never go back on his word and say, listen, I just want a minority share and I'm going to keep the Glazers in power. Because in his manifesto in the beginning, he was talking about, listen, guys, bringing Manchester back to Man United fans, just all this
fan-centric approach.
Fan-centric approach. This is not a fan-centric approach. You've already, before getting into power, you've already ruined everything that you said you was going to do. But then it was like, good, because you got these 2 people pushing on, and then because the one thing that was really scary to me in the beginning was if we just bought in, Rain Group was looking for minority shareholders where you're just these different random American banks or whatever that are just going to come in and say, hey, let's get our money back as soon as possible. I was really worried that will be the case, and it's like some blind consortium that we don't know who it is, and we don't know what their intentions are. We have no idea. Now it's like we got past that, but we're kind of back at that. But with the one guy and Sir Jim, and the thing is, I know I would like Qatar. Let's be responsible and talk about the other side in terms of what could this look like under Sir Jim. But maybe we should do super chats and then jump back into that.
Yeah, let's get into the super chats first. So we've got a couple here. Nathan says, maybe it's too much opioid, but I feel like if the Glazers would take investments, they would have already. They want out. They just want the 6 bill. Well, this is kind of the problem, though, Nathan. I mean, you're right when it comes to, like KG's mentioned those groups. I think they were one was Carlisle, one was Elliott, these sort of investment banks that were willing to put in $1 billion for a small percentage, which is really where Ineos now find themselves. Their bid is no real different to those bids that were put in previously. Maybe they're just willing to put in a bit more money, you could argue. But as people are sort of saying, if they really, again, this is maybe why they're going to have this meeting in a couple of days. They couldn't actually accept Sir Jim Ratcliffe's offer. Now they've got an offer that they could accept. And the problem was also, KG, was that once Sir Jim's bid had disappeared for a while, and there was only realistically one bid on the table that they could accept, Sheikh Jassim's. The problem that they had, and the reason it went quiet, is it still wasn't enough. They were looking for 6 billion. It was 5. So the Glazers, you know what they're like? Arms folded. Well, we're going to let's go back to Sir Jim Ratcliffe, see if he can do something that we do like, because we're not accepting 5 billion. So that was part of the problem. But now this could change. V33 says, no point discussing this BS takeover. Almost 12 months. Every fan channel is sounding like a broken recorder. Might be a broken record. Yeah.
I really want to play a recorder. That's cool. But no, I know what I get the anger that was that V33? Was that
yes.
that? I get where he's coming from. I get it's annoying, innit? I feel his pain, how could we be in a situation? But we have to be honest and be real. It's news,
Wow, yeah.
And at the moment, this is news, and we're all doing the same things, because he'll be lying if he says he never went on a timeline and checked what's going on and refreshed and hope for good news. So all we do in the morning is bring that news to you, bro.
Yeah, and also as well, it's a very strange phenomenon, because I've noticed this. So I did a video yesterday when the news came out, and this has happened to me a few times with a few different subjects like this season. in that we saw in this time now whereby if the news you hear is the news that you don't want to hear, then it's not true. But if it's the news that you want to hear, then it's definitely true. So, for instance, I mean, you cannot discredit. I mean, it's Bloomberg. I mean, it's not. It's not. I mean, Neil Custis. Remember when he came out and he said that Sheikh Jassim was going to be the owner by October? We're halfway through the month.
You're an absolute disgrace. You're a cheat.
So it's not that. But it's Bloomberg, and they come at it from a purely financial point of view as opposed to a sporting point of view. So when they come out and say, Jim Ratcliffe's the front runner, it's significant. Granted, have we heard that same story before? Yes, we have heard that same story before. But the fact that, they're saying it's going to be discussed at a board meeting, that's quite significant. But I understand what some people would also say is that very coincidental international break, this kind of stuff comes out when there's a bit of a lull in the news. Something's got to come out at that period of time. That's something to consider too.
Well, you think there's international break stuff?
But then again, I don't think Bloomberg looks at it like that. I don't think Bloomberg goes, we've got to get something for that international break. What about the rest of Wall Street? What? We're just talking about Man United.
Wait.
And Scar says both Man clubs murked by Arsenal. Hold that.
Okay, good for you, bro. I'm glad you won the title right now. And
and the Champions League, very successful.
When's the parade? When's the parade? Is it started? Where does everyone go?
Don't use the buses they got last year. Don't use those buses.
Hey, but wait, let's play the imaginary game for a second.
Go on.
So Sir Jim comes in. Is there a world where Sir Jim could be good for Man United? Is there because there's an eventuality and possibility that this guy could take over Man United, and we haven't played that out as a scenario, as a sequence. What does that even look like? Do you think he would be different? His approach will be different in terms of how it's been before? Can it work?
What does that even look like? Because again, he would have 25%. So how much influence could he even have? Not the majority. Could he have any influence over key footballing decisions at the club? The manager, the executives at the club? Or is he just another opinion? He's just got a seat at the table, but he doesn't have the final say on things? Again, how would that even work too? In addition to that, I think you would have to look at what would the reaction be from a fan point of view too. I mean, this is what we've said as well, that the Glazers have kind of caused their own downfall in a sense, because you can't dangle that carrot for a year, can you? We're thinking about selling. We're serious. The club's on the market. I know they never said officially it was up for sale, but an exploration of strategic alternatives is business speak for we're seeing if we could sell the club. The club's on the market. We're open to offers. And imagine to dangle that carrot for 12 months and go, well, we ain't selling. We just got some cash.
We're selling later.
Well, that's not guaranteed.
Remember they said it's still with the intention for full sale, right? So if we buy 25%, there's got to be somewhere in writing that says in 2026, wherever, they will sell the Sir Jim, the club, and not put it on the market again, because that would be ridiculous. That's out of order.
But again, none of that's been reported at this point.
Why would you? Why that's what I'm saying. The deal doesn't actually make sense, because why would you take 25%? You're not taking any power, any raw leverage for nothing. Right now, you just got the B class shares. That makes no sense. I don't understand that business model at all. For no say, for no power, you're doing that obviously for something to happen in the end. So they would have to sell. There will have to be something in writing that says at this point we have first. You have to look at our offer first and seriously consider it, or something like that. There's got to be some kind of legal jargon that protects their place in this deal.
Yeah, that was my confusion too. A little bit was okay, so you've changed your offer again a little bit so you win, but I would get it, like you said. I would get it if it was to win long term. If you go, yeah, but it's got in writing that in 2020. 5, we're going to buy, 10 more percent. And in 2026, we're going to get 15 more percent. And eventually we'll have the majority and eventually there'll be an INEOS takeover. I'd be like, well, that doesn't really help us in, the immediate future, but I guess they get where they want eventually. And but even that, they would have to put in, one would think, they would have to put in price points now for what they want to get in the future.
Yeah.
But the Glazers are saying that in the future, Man United could be worth 10 billion quid. So you could, but they're saying that at the moment, the INEOS deal values Manchester United at £5 billion. But like you said, a lot of it doesn't make a lot of sense realistically. And you have to get into INEOS now just doing this because maybe they realized not a long time ago that they couldn't actually win this race. Remember the whole point, the thing that Sir Jim Ratcliffe has over Sheikh Jassim is that he's flexible. That's the only thing he has over him at the moment. Sheikh Jassim is somewhat inflexible with the fact that he just wants everything. I want it all 100%. That's what I want. I want nothing to do with you or anyone else who's currently at the club, right? Whereas INEOS, their whole mindset is we can't outbid them financially. We don't have the money. What we can do is be very flexible. They want 100%. We want 69. Let's move that down. Let's move that down to 50. Let's move that down to 25. Let's talk in a couple of years' time. That's all they've got.
Interesting that, what do you call it? We heard news that if Qatar get the club, though, they plan to keep Eric Ten Hag in power. Like, they just want some more football heads at the club, some more best in class. Every time you hear from what Qatar want to do, it always sounds positive. I still don't know what Sir Jim wants to do. It's insane. There's no reason for me to say, hey, this could be a preferred bidder. That's the worst part of this whole scenario. I've never thought and said to myself, you know what? Sir Jim could be positive. Man United fan, cares about the club. All the moves he's done shows that he doesn't care about the club.
Well, the only thing is just they go, he wants to get Paul Mitchell in. And you go, okay.
And that's all right.
And you're going to go, what else? Let's get Paul in. So, okay. And is that it? Yeah. Paul Mitchell. And again, would he even have the influence to make that call? If you're a 25% holder at Manchester United, you don't even have the final say in that. So he could find out very quickly. He might be just the latest person to be offered it. Come into the Manchester United family. Yeah, I'll give you a seat at the table. No problem. Once you get through the door, we're not listening to you. Ralph's in the corner with his NDA. Sorry, tried to tell you. You don't need glasses to see what's going on here, mate. All that kind of stuff. I tell you what is interesting though, KG, is the emergence of David Beckham involved in all of this because he's getting pretty vocal. Yes. So yesterday he was talking to CNBC and he had quite a bit to say. He said it's the right time for somebody else to take over at Manchester United. When being asked about being an ambassador for Qatar if they buy Manchester United, he said, at the moment, there's been no discussion of that, but everybody knows that I'm a Manchester United fan and I've been very vocal about the situation at United. At the moment, there's no stability at Manchester United. I want an ownership to take over and take United back to where they should be. I think there will be a takeover of Manchester United. I think it's the right time. He also then spoke about his relationship with Qatar, saying, I've had a long-standing relationship with Qatar. Obviously, there's been a connection since I was at PSG. Now, it's not the first time he's made those comments. He made them on Sky at the F1 the other weekend. Do you think this is tactical from maybe Sheikh Jassim picking up the phone to David, going, hey, talk?
Very tactical. And this is where this is like a key move, I would say. David Beckham is a legend. The timing from the Netflix documentary and just saying that they want him to be a part of it. Man United fans would probably be more welcome because while I would like Sheikh Jassim to step in and help the club and bring us back to where we should be in terms of competing on the major scale, there's a lot of fans that are still not convinced by this. And there's a lot of fans that feel like, sports washing, all that other stuff they've heard. And I can't pretend that they don't feel those ways or feel strongly about that. Now, with David Beckham kind of more eases that or eases the tension, and you say, you know what, if David Beckham's on board with it, David Beckham really loves the club. He loves the club. Of all the players that you can say, David Beckham is one that you say, even with how it ended, in acrimonious end, he still loves the club. I think he's the only one to. Did he put on the green and gold scarf at one stage, David Beckham? I think there's
yeah, as he said in the ground.
the only one probably to put on the green and gold scarf, which is a huge message. So them recruiting David Beckham being a part of Man United in the future of where this club goes, I like it. You know, seeing how much his dad cares about the club. I didn't know that his dad was a proper Man United fan like that. These are all good, like these are all good variables. These are all good things that you can, when you're saying about a bid and stuff, it makes sense. The only thing is the Glazers don't give a damn if it's David Beckham. They don't care who's there. Just give my 6 or 7 billion. You know, they don't care. Like, this proposal is where, and David Beckham's here. It's not like the Olympic proposal or nothing like that. This is just Glazers trying to get their money. So, but for the fans, to alleviate fans and to maybe build up trust in the Man United fan base, good, it's a smart decision. And I'm glad that David Beckham's talking. So you can see there's some level of movement and there's some level of strategy, and the want is still there from Qatar.
Yeah, that's why I say I think this is more than just, oh, it's the international break, something to talk about, because again, looking at the reports that come out yesterday and the fact that David Beckham suddenly got very vocal. I know it's the right time, i.e. David Beckham's in the media at the moment because he's documentary and people are talking about him. But again, even that's somewhat strategic, because you could say, David, we know you're out there doing interviews at the moment. Whilst you're doing more interviews than you usually would, you're going to be asked about Man United. You literally just done a documentary. Part of it's about your time at United. If you're asked about the takeover, talk, give us something, put some, because the pressure that the media can put on the situation, or the spotlight they can put on the situation, is very significant. And look, David Beckham's a strange case, because I think sort of maybe younger fans maybe won't really appreciate who he was as a footballer, because they just know David Beckham, the sort of brand nowadays, don't they? They know David Beckham, the brand, the businessman, the guy that's got all of these different commercial ventures, the guy that owns Inter Miami and all that kind of stuff. But you forget, you scale it back. David Beckham, we were chatting about this the other day, weren't we? How much do you think David Beckham's would be worth as a footballer in today's market? Let us know in the chat.
That's a great question.
There aren't many David Beckhams around, aren't there, anymore?
I'm going to go with 75 million. 75 million. 75 feels right. I think you can't say more than 75. Where's he going to play? He's not going to play right wing, is he? Going to play
more than 75.
Really?
Yeah, because not only are you buying the quality football, and again, there aren't many David Beckhams. I mean, people go, "Oh, James Ward-Prowse." James Ward-Prowse, obviously, don't get me wrong, good player. That does a disservice to David Beckham. Like, I mean, and also you would be buying, because even back then he had a strong commercial brand. David Beckham, number 7. The boots.
Oh, you're talking about the commercial? I thought you just meant.
I mean the footballer. I mean, if you got David Beckham in his prime today in the current market, you have to buy everything. The footballer, the brand, publicity.
Oh, yeah, then you're easily getting to one something, like easily. I thought you were just talking about just what David Beckham as a football player on the pitch, what he can offer you, because I know that he probably wouldn't be a fluid. No one plays. He couldn't just be like a winger. I don't think he'll get to play that anymore. He'll play in midfield. He'll be in the inside. Yeah, he offers a lot though, man. As a footballer, as a pure footballer, for me, 90 million feels right for me. I feel like after that, it's like that's a bit excessive.
He'd be 100 million plus. 100 million plus. Easy 100 million plus. And here's one for you, he'd be more suited to today's football than he was in the 90s and the 2000s. And I'll tell you why. It's because David Beckham's technical football ability, I think, was ahead of its time. You're talking about cross-field passes. You're talking about the ability to pick people out from 40, 50, 60 yards on the pitch, ping it. Free kicks, 9 times out of 10, it's on target, or it's exactly where it needs to be, or it's a goal. Corners, how many times do we have that conversation of can't even beat the first man? David Beckham, not only could he beat the first man, he could get it exactly where it needed to be. Like we were talking, when we were chatting about this the other day on the phone, we were saying that we've been spoiled as United fans, right? We've been massively spoiled. The fact that you could get a free kick 25 yards out, difficult
No.
angle. And no, this is going on target. Or if it's being whipped in the box, it's going exactly where it needs to be. We've had so many conversations about Rasmus Højlund recently. Service. With a David Beckham in your team, Rasmus Højlund gets like 30 goals a season just by pure, and like, again, 10 of those goals, 15 of those goals come from his crosses, his set pieces, what have you. That he's, again, his success today does a disservice to how good he was.
I think what's happening right now, and remember, when you ask, because I know in the chat, they're like, KG, like, how could you say this? How could you be like
75 million?
Undervalued? No, but I was just talking about in like, the football terms and how things have got a bit crazy in football. Like, I don't think Declan Rice is actually worth 100 million. I don't think there's a lot of players that are walking around in normal footballing, in a normal footballing world. There's not a lot of players that should be worth 100 million. It's just that simple. Like, I don't think I think 100 million is actually quite ridiculous, honestly. Like, if we scaled everything back to what it should be, what are these players really worth? You remember when 30 million would bring you a prime Wayne Rooney and stuff, and obviously the market is so ridiculous that Kai Havertz can go for a 75. You're not 75 million. Kai Havertz in normal football is probably what, 15 to 20 million. A Declan Rice,
you say that
40, 50 million. Like, if we're really looking at this thing properly,
why isn't Kai Havertz 75 million?
how much did he? Why isn't he? What do you mean?
My point is, in today's market, it's not even necessarily things that, yes, there's inflation, etc., but there's a lot more that goes into it now, isn't it, as well? Because, again, you're not just, yes, you're buying the footballer in terms of success on the pitch, but you're buying everything commercially that comes with it, and in whatever country they're from, and in terms of sponsorships that they bring with them as well.
Yeah.
So, like, I know to us,
I just feel comfortable with these players that are walking around for all this money when you're rubbish. Like, you're actually dead. Like, you're not even 100 million should buy you the creme de la creme. Like, you should be next level. There should be nothing next to you at all.
But today, that's nothing.
A special group of players that fit into that 100 million thing. And it's not even less. When we look at Anthony, Anthony went close. Anthony, like, close to what, 90 million euros or something ridiculous like that?
Like 100 million euros, something like 80 million quid, something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I get the inflation thing, but I still feel like, and maybe that's just me stuck in the era I came through, where if you got that, you're getting a superstar. And you're not, you're just getting, let's see if you can do a job. We got bloody Sancho came in on, I don't know how much Sancho was now, but I haven't seen him for weeks, and he's mad expensive, so he's just ridiculous.
That's just the money that's gone into football, though, as well, isn't it? Let's be honest. Because I agree with you. I remember when Shevchenko went to Chelsea, and it was like 38 million pounds, something like that. And at the time, that was like, oh my god, that is an insane amount of money. I can't believe they did that. But then football does change. I remember when I was younger, my dad talking about Trevor Francis, RIP Trevor Francis, first £1 million footballer. And when they said, and I remember my dad used to say to me, Trevor Francis, first £1 million footballer. And you go, all right, granddad, £1 million. What are you talking about? And he's like, no, that was a lot of money. And you go, yeah. That's where we are at the moment. We go, Shevchenko went for 38 million. You go, that was a lot. And you get these kids going, it's not. That's just football changing. That's football changing.
It's just because I know, obviously, when Kevin Keegan signed a massive contract, and my dad thought it was a good omen, and he called me Kevin. That's where that thing comes from. My dad don't even watch football like that. He just saw someone sign a super contract, and he goes, "That's good," and he just called me Kevin. Literally, that's my name. Do you know how ridiculous that is? He doesn't support Newcastle. He just saw this guy.
When did Kevin Keegan get that contract in proximity to you being born as well? Was it day of?
I don't know. He decided that is a good one.
I don't know what's funnier. Either that happened like that day or something, and it was like, okay, that's the aim we're looking for. Or if it was a case of that happened 3 years prior. I'm putting that in my back pocket for later on.
Yeah. Like, Dad, why'd you call him? But yeah, he's out of order. So, like,
And he went, that's a good omen. Fast forward all these years, and it's midnight and KG's losing 7-0 to people on.
You are an absolute disgrace. You're a cheat.
There you go. Yeah, well, listen.
Super chat V33 says, Man United is too big of a cake for Earthworm Jim. Kristen says, I have a hunch. I don't think it will be just Qatar. I see a triple partnership between Beckham, Qatar, and Adidas, creating a blueprint of the City group. SGD says, speaking from longevity, Earthworm Jim ain't got many years to live. Jeez. Then what? Pass it on to his family, and we have Glazers 2.0. Sheikh Jass in. Well, I don't think anything can prevent you from buying anything because you're old. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you can't mortgages. You will struggle like as an old person. That.
Yeah. But if you're a billionaire, why are you bothering?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Very true.
With him, I'm not sure that's the best thing to go with. Also, by the way, we can move on a little bit from Takeover stuff. Did you see Scott McTominay last night?
Scott McTominay has turned into. Some people are saying it's prime R9 right now. It's getting ridiculous. When he goes into I saw this meme of, R9 just moving crazy, scoring the wicked goals and stuff, and just being just like a monster on the pitch, yeah. And they said every time Scott McTominay pulls off at Scotland, I was dying. But the guy is just, what's going on? Who does he think he is? That Beckham documentary, yeah, has moved him. He's so inspired. How can he shoot from that? That angle is ridiculous. And it's a robbery. He was robbed. But I want him to continue watching that documentary, because if this is the form, question is, yeah, the next squad is in. We need to play a team on the weekend. Is Scott in the team for you, bro?
So we're playing Sheffield United away.
Sheffield United away. Scott's got a brace. Deserves it.
Okay. I'll volley that one back to you. Let's say he does play. Who does he play instead of?
Nope. I reject this volley back to me. I asked you a very straightforward question.
It's not how tennis works.
I want you to answer the question before I decide to answer it. What are you doing? Scott scored 2 goals in dying embers of a game.
Yes, he did. And then he scored a brilliant free kick, which I don't understand why that's ruled out, by the way.
Because there was some pushing, but it's ridiculous.
It was not pushing. It wasn't any pushing. Ridiculous. In Spain, Seville. Disgrace.
Yeah.
Would I start him the next game? The issue is...
Let's ask the poll as well. Would you start McTominay next game? Let's do it.
The issue is that if we're saying we want to start McTominay, we don't. It's not like, okay, yeah, I'm going to start McTominay instead of Casemiro, because the whole point is that McTominay is dangerous when he plays higher up, right? Mm-hmm. So if he's going to play higher up the pitch, then we're saying, are you going to play him for instead of rather what, like a Bruno? Are you willing to do that, KG? Are you willing to make that call?
I'm waiting for you to answer this question, and I'll happily answer this question.
But the reason I would say no is because I would say I don't know who he comes in for in that instance.
Well, so what I'm hearing right now is what everyone accuses the manager of
favoritism.
Favoritism, really? Because
I've volleyed it back to you, and now you're dodging. Yeah, so I volleyed it back to you. Now you're dodging. I squirmed, and you pinned me down. You got the free count, no problem. Hold up your hand, Kevin Gary. No problem.
I'm getting the audience as well, because we talk about Eric Ten Hag about favoritism and this, that, and the other, and players should be played off merit and form and this, that, and the other. Well, probably one of the most informed Man United players at the moment can't get a game. Why is that? Why? Because you're going to go with the players that you just kind of trust more, and you know that can do it. Now, would I start McTominay? No. Why? I have my favorites. Does he deserve to jump in off the bench? Absolutely. He deserves some minutes. But then minutes at the case of who? And that's I would like my midfield is very simple in terms of I'm going again with this Casemiro, Amrabat, Bruno thing. I need to see what that looks like.
You still go with
But
Casemiro?
absolutely, I'm not giving up on Casemiro. I'm not. And people say I should give that same love towards Onana. And then to be honest, I'm gonna give Onana till African nations, to AFCON. It's a great time. He'll naturally go out of the team because he's getting to play for his nation. And we'll see if someone can make the shirt their own. But hopefully in this time before AFCON, he can start showing he's a valuable keeper and he's what we need.
The thing is, yeah, well, I was with the Casemiro thing at the moment. It's actually quite concerning because I was looking on social media this morning, and against he played for Brazil against Venezuela last night. I think they drew 1-1, and apparently he had a 33% dual win rate, and he was dribbled past 3 times against Venezuela, which would imply that's not necessarily just a Man United thing. That's a Casemiro thing, because his dual win rate this season is down significantly. And he came off, obviously, half-time against Brentford. What do we think when it comes to Casemiro? Are we saying that maybe Amrabat does he need to drop out and Amrabat replace him and get someone else in the team?
What do we think that Casemiro's done then? Surely not. Surely this has just been a bad bit of form. He come on. 33% is crazy. I will say that. I'm not sure about that one.
Yeah, I think
we're gonna be too quick with the Casemiro thing. It's too quick. It's too quick to get to this point where we're throwing them away. It's like Varane. We know that Varane could do a job, right? And we know that we probably there's no longevity in it. But to now say Casemiro's dead, he's in bad form. It's the same with Bruno, bad form. So we start it's just poor that 4 players are in bad form at the same time. But to totally give up on Casemiro feels ridiculous.
Well, by the way, give up on him. I'm not saying give up on him. I'm saying put him on the bench for a few games if he's not playing well, because clearly he's not playing at his best. Even because that's what was crazy. Even the fact that he was the top goal scorer, is people were pointing out it was such a contradiction, wasn't it? They were going, he's top goal scorer, but he hasn't been playing well at all.
Yeah. I just feel like there's still a good player there, man. I don't know, man. I feel like I don't want us to be too hasty when we just this is the same player that was all screaming for last season and saying he's changed everything, talking about one of the best defensive midfielders in the Premier League. And then he's gone to, he shouldn't even be in the Man United team.
Well, but this is the sort of the black and white nature of football that I think sometimes get caught into. I think you can say that Casemiro hasn't played well this season without saying, he never should play for United again, or he should be sold, or what have you. You could say, again, come out of the team. It's not as if the problem was last season is if Casemiro came out, we went, well, who are we going to replace him with? What, Fred? McTominay? We got someone. We got Amrabat. Amrabat can come in there. You can then maybe say, a bit like against Brentford, right? You got Amrabat, you got Christian Eriksen play alongside him. You got Mason Mount in there, a bit more energy, legs. Or if you want even more legs, you start going, okay, Hannibal. We got Hannibal in. That can get some more dynamism in the midfield. And that's not to say that Casemiro can never come back into that either. He can. But any player, if they're not playing well, should come out of the side. I mean, they should. So, but I mean, it doesn't really, with McTominay, it doesn't really fit that point because, McTominay is being more effective higher up the pitch.
Yeah, now he said with Bruno's poor form, McTominay, if we're getting by the rules of what people are saying that how it shouldn't be favourites and this, that, and the other, well, we should see McTominay straight in on the weekend. He deserves it by the rules of what we're saying, because I know that's the stick that they used to beat the manager with a lot and saying, he's got his favourites, he does this, he does that. Well, let's all live by the same code that we're talking about and give McTominay these minutes.
And also, coming out of this international break, we might have even more midfield options available to us, KG, as well. Kobbie Mainoo might be back as well.
Kobbie's back in. So, Ahmad said he's back in. We got another right-sided player as well. Ahmad said he's back in 2 weeks or something.
said he'd be back soon. It's also looking like Terrell Malacia is going to be back. Of course, we know that Regulion is going to be back as well. So, getting those players back in is going to be important. Actually, KJ, I asked you about Harry Maguire's comments. What do you make of what Maguire was saying?
Insane. So Fleck told me about this on the Flex and KG show the other day, and I thought, that's just a quote. It's just not real. It's not like he couldn't have said it in that way. There's no way he could have delivered it like that. No, he did. He really means it. And you know what? The crazy thing is, I don't want to get on Maguire's back, because the one thing that players need to tell themselves things to get themselves into gear mentally. And one thing we can see from Maguire, or what I'm hoping for from Maguire, is confidence is building in his game, confidence in himself, and him starting to feel like, you know what, I do deserve to be on the pitch. And that's a big part when you talk about these players mentally. So if he wants to tell himself, you know what, I've got the best win ratio, I've got the best, I've got these things. Well, if that's going to make you play better and fight for the shirt, by all means, tell yourself that. Now, where it gets technical is if January comes up and he says he wants to go and play some football, no way. Don't go anywhere, bro. You're not leaving this club, because the option was there early. You didn't take it. So I don't think that you care about playing regular team football. So right now, the next time you get to talk about leaving the club is when the window opens properly in summer. You're not going anywhere in Jan. Simple as that.
What if, though, there's business to be done on a permanent basis? I mean,
it has to be. It has to make sense. It has to make sense of money for the club. But you can see right now, I can't believe the centre-back issues that we're potentially going to have. We got a striking issue in terms of it's only Martial and Højlund, even though Martial's playing quite decently this season. I think he's been all right coming off the bench and helping out and being an option. But then you're now starting to see, look, like with Martinez's injury, with you got Johnny Evans, Maguire, Lindelof. That's the three with a broken Varane. Whoa, and there's no youngster coming through they could say can make the shirt their own. It's scary time. So I don't know if the manager, even let's say January comes up, I don't believe, because he wasn't even willing to get rid of. He wasn't even ready to get rid of Facundo when he thought, I might need you. So could you see him trying to bed in a new centre back in Jan? I don't see him doing it. I see him wanting to wait till the main window, knowing our manager. I could never see him saying, you know what, off you go, Maguire. Let's start again with somebody new. Not in Jan. Takes them too long to bed in and become like, unless you're getting a Premier League proven player. And even that doesn't guarantee that he's going to just take it in his stride at this club.
It is true. I think you make a good point there. We don't have that up-and-coming young centre-back, do we? That they're going to be the one to improve in the future. I mean, obviously, Martinez is young, but he's not like up-and-coming. You know what I mean? He's established at this point. We don't have that, like, we got Højlund up front. We got, Kobbie Mainoo in the middle.
Yeah.
You look at centre-back and who's that? Who's that guy? I don't know if that would be Tadibo. I think he's like 23, actually. So, he's not young.
Especially now, yeah, the radar, like, I know, and my most hated phrase in this world, yeah, this new talent ID thing.
Talent ID. It's talent ID. What do you think the new phrase is going to be? Because we've had a few, haven't we, over the last sort of year or so. And you're right, they come into vogue and people start using them. This past summer was definitely talent ID. Do you want to create one this morning? See if it catches on.
I just can't take it. I hate it. I hate it. Even the other day, yeah, I was so mad at Flex for letting allowing Cam off in that last, when they was outside the ground and Cam's talking about Onana and this, that, and the other. I thought, Cam, you little cretin. You you need to talk about these charges, bro. These charges. What you've done, yeah, is we've heard like it's I hate it. I don't even there's the auxiliary one, there's the ball,
auxiliary 6.
The auxiliary 6. There's what's the other, like, press resistant. I love that one.
Press resistant. That was one for a while. There's press resistant, auxiliary 6.
You need a
talent ID.
Oh, I hate it. there's just the football buzzwords, that just work, and it makes you sound like you're the greatest tactician in world football. No, you're just a fan of an opinion. Until you get tested and you're in a big game and you're making big decisions. Oh, you're just a fan. You should say you know ball, but until your team has to do it week in, week out, we know what you're saying.
I'm trying to think of what that new one will be as well. Because you're right, talent ID was a massive buzzword in the summer. It was ridiculous. And I believe the one prize that was press resistant. You're right. Press resistant was a big thing.
Press resistant.
Press resistant was.
Where did that come from?
I don't know.
You're looking for. He needs to be press resistant.
We need a goalkeeper that's press resistant. That's what we need. You need that press resistant goalkeeper this summer. The thing you have to question is Ten Hag's talent ID. Where is the talent ID? The talent ID is just not there. I'm trying to think what the next one could be, but they're impossible to know what they're going to be, and then they just appear. Auxiliary 6, I feel like, was ridiculous.
Oh man!
I bet you who was the first person to say that as well? What United? We need to have that auxiliary 6. Did everyone not go? What the fuck are you talking about? You just said words.
Bro, I hate it here, bro. And sometimes we watching. Now, I'm not coming for Cam's coaching bad. Cam's actually a coach, so he's doing his thing. I'm just saying that in this, people just chatting rubbish.
We just need that sort of. We need that passive inside number 9, is what we need. Something like that. You know what I mean? You go, well, they're words. It's sort of a description and a number.
I really want someone that's just good. What do you call it? You can say good on the ball. That makes sense. Yeah. That's it.
So when they say auxiliary 6, you go, what does that mean? They go, good on the ball. Say good on the ball.
I forgot. You know what I mean? Just because there's all these supporting thingy. Remember we got Weghorst and we called him a shadow. What did we call Weghorst?
Was it a press machine? Was it a press machine? Something like that?
No, defensive striker.
Defensive striker.
A pressing defensive striker. Wait, what?
Or when Klopp coined the term mentality monsters, suddenly everyone that pressed in the game was a mentality monster. If anyone called this United team mentality monsters in the last 12 months, and then look where we are now.
Inverted defense. No, but the one person that I can, Pep has created that inverted thing. Well, I don't know if I can say it's Pep's, but he's done it for so long that I just attribute it to him. And it's like when someone makes that celebration their own, like the Jude Bellingham, apparently it's the David Beckham. The arms out wide. There's apparently
he did do that.
Huh?
That was David Beckham.
Yeah, but we call it the Jude Bellingham, which is crazy. So it goes like that sometimes. But how I know Pep was playing that whole inverted, and everyone's doing it. Even the rubbish teams are doing the inverted thing. Like, what is going on?
Let's get these super chats out the way. Amanor says Jane Sancho should watch the David Beckham documentary. It's just Danny says the hero United need, but not the one it deserves right now. Not sure who that's referring to.
Oh, here it is from Quinton. First phase midfielder.
You know what you've got to do, KG, yeah? Particularly on your reckless breakfast and all that kind of stuff. You've got to pick one of these and you've got to see if you can get it to become popular. Mainstream.
Yeah. Just throw one in.
But you've got to do it really seriously. And everything you do, every show you do.
To be no one's listening.
Yeah, but it's got to be ridiculous. And then in 6 months' time, you go, I don't know what it means. I made it up. It doesn't mean anything. And next thing you know, they're saying it on Sky and stuff like that.
Yeah. We have to. All right, cool. All right.
Yeah.
I need you to help me with that one because that'll be brilliant actually. They'll say it. Yeah, let's do it.
Lil Yo says Maguire's comments is like a guy talking to a chick about how well endowed he is, but secretly he's been lying the whole time. Wow, Lil Yo, that seemed oddly specific, didn't it? So,
Lil Yo, man.
Yeah. Oh,
well. The best thing.
Yeah. Okay. No. I think we call this therapy in any way you want to use it. It's fine. No problem. There you go, guys. That's the way we're going to end the show. Be sure to smash the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right hand corner. And actually, before I press the end card, KG, shall I just leave this up on the screen for the whole time?
Why are you like that? We done the poll. And they said you're wrong for leaking the information.
Well, it's not a leak. It was on your channel last night. Unless you've privated the stream.
It's a leak. You bought it to, no one would have known, on the whole of X. You pinned it. You're Sancho.
I didn't pin it. That's a lie. That's a falsehood. That's a lie. I did not pin it. What I would like to do, even on here, is I would like to. I just want to make sort of KG's face bigger.
Why is this still up, bro? Why are you still?
Look at your face. Dumbfounded.
You're not coming. My wife is not cooking anything for you. I've decided it's over.
Fine. That's fine. Are you going to be live on your channel shortly?
Yep. In like 5-10 minutes. So we call it. Yep. We're talking about the same stuff.
Same stuff. And definitely not talking about FIFA. We're out of it. It's not even FIFA. It's EA Sports FC. And it's definitely not FIFA either. Yeah. We're out of here. Peace.
Bye.